you're supposed to be studying profit and loss, but instead you end up watching a placement blog from someone at IIM Ahmedabad. 1.5 crore का पैकेज लगा है, and you start wondering, क्या मैं भी हो सकता हूँ वहाँ पे? क्या मेरा पैकेज भी लग सकता है इतना? मेरी प्रोफाइल अच्छी है, कहीं मैं MBA के साथ टाइम अपना वेस्ट तो नहीं कर रहा, क्योंकि यार मेरी प्रोफाइल इस बंदे के जितनी तो अच्छी नहीं है. All of a sudden, your head is not even in preparing for CAT. You are already in a room at an IIM sitting for placements, and you call it planning. But is it? That is what this video is about. Who am I to tell you any of this? Well, I've cracked CAT, GMAT, CFA, all 3 levels in my first attempts while working full-time. I did my MBA from IIM Kozhikode. So I've sat on both sides of placement anxiety. Today, let's try to decode what it really is. Is it motivation, or is it a clever way of distracting ourselves? First truth, your brain absolutely loves future fantasies. To tell you the truth, I used to do this too. मेरे time पे Quora बहुत famous था. I mean, I was exactly where you are right now. Endless reading on Quora, Reddit, LinkedIn, पागल guy forums. I was chasing certainty. मुझे जानना था कि मैं जो decision ले रहा हूँ ना, ये सही decision है. This is all worth it. I wanted the answers before the exam. I wanted this prep to actually matter. जब मैं MBA करके निकलूं बाहर, तो जब मैं पीछे देखूं तो this should have been worth it. Because let's face it, most people like myself who are taking this exam, they want to improve some aspect of their lives. Sacrifices भी हो रहे हैं. Obviously, you would want it to matter. That certainty is what you're chasing. Neuroscience calls this dopamine forecasting. So every time you scroll through B-school reels or salary posts, you basically get a small high. It's like finishing a mock on a high note, only without any effort. And that's why placement worries actually feel productive, because you're working emotionally, not cognitively. The harsh truth is that dopamine does not build competence. It just builds looping daydreams. It's nice to do it at times. I used to do it too. Did it help? Maybe it motivated me for a day or two, but honestly speaking, it demotivated me far more frequently than it motivated me. Because the people whose profiles I was looking at were insane. I mean, I couldn't even compare to those people. It was extremely natural for me to feel as if this is a waste of time, and that thought is actually going to demotivate anyone. On the other hand, did it tell me anything about placements? Well, I can conclusively say they told me absolutely nothing about placements. And let me tell you why. Let's be brutally honest. If you really wanted hard placements data, you would open up the placement report of any B school and you would go through it once and move on. Some of you maybe even have glanced at these placement reports, but newsflash, those numbers are not accurate representations of what the reality is. Before you think you know what I'm talking about, let me tell you, no, you don't. 99% of people who have even passed out from these B schools don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe I'm going to make a private video on it someday, but for the time being, please understand these numbers are not accurate representations of what's going on. Let's go for a suspension of disbelief for a moment. Even if we were to establish that the data in these placement reports is absolutely unquestionable, you simply have no damn way of knowing what the macro hiring scenario is going to be when you actually sit for placements. No one knows that. No one can predict it. Please don't look for a false sense of certainty, because that's exactly what this is. I've seen people whose profiles have been tailored for organizations like Accenture's strategy. But it turns out that in 1 year, the one team that was really hiring at Accenture was dealing in oil. Someone with just 1 year worth of work-ex at an upstream oil and gas company, even though she did not have an exceptionally good CV, got in ahead of all these people. So that's exactly the kind of uncertainty that you're going to deal with. And these placement reports tell you absolutely nothing about any of it. And they are certainly incapable of predicting what the scenario is actually going to be when you actually are sitting for placements. So don't look for this false sense of certainty. It's not there, it's an illusion. Because most likely, you are going to be a personified version of what Seneca said. He suffers more in imagination than in reality. Please trust the system. A part of you already does. That's why you're here. That's why you're preparing for this exam. उस ट्रस्ट पे इतना भी प्रेशर मत डालो कि तुम्हारे एक्सपेक्टेशंस के प्रेशर से वो दबके खत्म हो जाए. योर ग्रोथ जर्नी बिगिंस हियर. सपने देखो, बस 1 महीने के लिए उसमें यकीन करके उसकी तरफ काम करो. वैलिडेशन बाद में ढूंढना. ये सब तो बहुत बात हो गई. Let me tell you a bit about what placements actually look like. Placements are intense, but in the end, everyone figures it out. That's what IIMs are for. That's what these B schools are for. These institutions have been there for a very long time, and placements are the engines that keep them running. have faith. Even the ones who come in doubting themselves eventually end up with roles that they could never have imagined themselves. Because by then, you've built context, you've built your skills, you've built your network, your soft skills. Literally every part of you has sort of improved in some way, in one way or another. You can't simulate any of that right now while sitting in front of an RC passage. You don't even know what you're simulating. National level पे केस कॉम सॉल्व कर रहे होगे तुम, उसकी प्रेजेंटेशन दे रहे होगे तुम टू एक्सट्रीमली सीनियर पीपल. कभी सोचा है कि ऐसा कुछ कर पाओगे? कभी खुद को इमेजिन किया उस स्टेज पे? Forget about that even. प्रेजेंटेशंस ऐसे बनाओगे 1 घंटे में, and good ones too, like it's no one else's business. कभी सोचा है कि ऐसा कर पाओगे? बट ऐसा होगा, तुम सोच भी नहीं सकते हो अभी कि किस लेवल पे एक्चुअली तुम ऑपरेट कर रहे होगे. Stop believing YouTube highlight reels यार. They show you the offer letter. They don't show you the 12 rejections that person got before even lunch. That is the reality. And इसीलिए मैंने ये चैनल स्टार्ट किया है, to discuss those things that are only talked about in dark corners in hushed tones. You're not seeing the system, you're just seeing the sparkle. बस उस चकाचौंध में इतने मत खो जाना कि तुम्हें next step ही दिखना बंद हो जाए. And I'll say this again, comparison without context is self-sabotage, plain and simple. If you're still here, by the way, please like the video. It really helps the channel and the algorithm loves it, so I really appreciate it. And as a thank you, here's the picture of a fluffy doggo. Now, I told you to pause this placement worry, but let's say नहीं कर पा रहे हो. So what can you actually do? You schedule your anxiety. Placement thoughts आ रहे हैं, दिमाग खराब हो रहा है. Schedule कर दो, ठीक है. संडे दिन में मॉक के बाद 15 मिनट दे दूंगा. Done. Park it there. But not just that. I've talked about formulating smart goals on this channel before, so you do something like that here as well. You note exactly what your concern is, look for data on that concern, log it and close the tab. वो 50 tabs का backlog बना के मत बैठ जाना यार, जो लैपटॉप धीरे चलने लगता है उसके चक्कर में. Please don't do that. Okay, I know अब बहुत सारे browsers पे वो आ गया है where you can sort of close those tabs but it safely parks it somewhere. Please don't do that either. ज़्यादा over smart मत बनो. Just close the damn tab. Second thing that you can do is redirect the emotion. This is pretty much the exact same principle कि बहुत frustrated हो जिम में निकालते हो. Same concept here. Adrenaline को iteration में channel कर दोगे बहुत फायदा करेगी. Do that. And the third thing is build local proof. Reframe this entire thing like अभी जो question पूछते हो that looks something like क्या मुझे नौकरी मिलेगी ऐसी. उस question को जरा reframe करते हैं. अभी के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में क्या हो जाएगा अगर मेरे एग्जाम में 2 नंबर ज्यादा आ गए और एंड फॉरगेट द एग्जाम, क्या होगा अगर मेरे नेक्स्ट मॉक से 2 नंबर ज्यादा आने लगे. तो स्मॉल विंस विल क्वाइट डाउन big fears of yours. And to be very honest, I can tell you that CAT में नंबर ज़्यादा आने से अगर तुम किसी better B school में चले गए, that will make a bigger impact on your placements than anything else actually will. And certainly, ये अभी जो तुम देख रहे हो ना placements के बारे में, all this is anyways hogwash. You won't understand half of it, and half of it is exaggerated, half of it's not real. Anyway, here is the uncomfortable truth. ये जो loop है ना, ये कभी खत्म नहीं होना. अभी placements के बारे में टेंशन ले रहे हो, जब नौकरी लग जाएगी तो promotion के बारे में टेंशन लोगे, जब promotion मिल जाएगा तो अपनी फरारी में बैठ के आंसू बहाओगे कि यार लाइफ में मीनिंग नहीं है. जब मीनिंग मिल जाएगा तब उसके बाद बोलोगे यार मेरे पास ना टाइम की कमी है. अगर टाइम मिल जाता ना थोड़ा और तो मजे आते. जब टाइम मिल जाएगा तो रोगे यार हेल्थ खराब हो रही है. हो सकता है खराब नहीं हो रही हो, सिर्फ बूढ़े हो रहे हो. Point is, worrying is not going to end, but the goal is not to remove worry completely. It's simply to deal with it effectively. अभी टेम नहीं करोगे ना उसको तो आगे अपग्रेड हो जाती है वो एंग्जाइटी में. CAT फर्स्ट टेस्ट है तुम्हारा, इसमें यहीं पे सीख लो. If this actually hit home, then please share it with someone who is actually worrying about placements, especially in this month. And subscribe to the channel if you are interested in more frameworks that keep you steady while you chase ambitious goals. Good luck.